One of Dark Souls 2's coolest features is the ability to have unlimited humanity via Vendrick's blessing. This means you remain human even after dying. The trouble with it is that it requires you to beat the final boss of all 3 DLCs and Vendrick, meaning you usually don't get to take advantage of it until you're very far into the game. Under normal conditions, the fewest bosses this can be achieved in is 17, which is pretty close to half of them. But I wanted to see just how early we could achieve this with the power of glitches. Let's begin. Starting off, I once again want to give a shout out to SCKR, whose video detailing boss skips is where I learned many of the skips we're going to be using. As per usual, we're going to start off as a knight with a bonfire aesthetic. Like most of my Dark Souls 2 runs, the first step is getting the butterfly skirt. I've gone over this in multiple other videos, so I'll try to keep it short. In Majula, grab the binoculars, the Estus shard, the homeward bones, and the flask, then join the way of the blue. Head into the forest, grabbing the effigy and soul, then grab the buckler, and head upstairs at the bonfire to take out the crystal lizard. Buy a firebomb or 2 using the soul if necessary, and blow open the wall. Head towards Kale and trigger the pursuer to drop in on your way. Grab the effigy, the house key, and the second Estus shard. Carry on to the ballista room, and grab the Titanite shard and large shard and life ring from the bottom. Equip the 2 health increasing rings and nothing else, and jump across from the scaffolding. I forgot just how long it takes to get up to full running speed in Dark Souls 2. Do that properly, and grab the branch. Free Rosabeth, grab the shard, and head into the foggy part of the Shaded Woods. Grab the Chloranthy ring and the Bone Dust Titanite chunk and 5 Brave Warrior souls from the following section. Pop the souls and spend 15,000 in Mullen's shop. Head inside the mansion for an Estus shard and 3 Titanite shards. Then burn the aesthetic we started with and buy the butterfly skirt. Head over to Aldia's Gate and parry walk inside. Now, I've seen quite a few people say that parry walk is too hard, but if you're on PC, it's basically 100% consistent. If you're using a controller, set up a Steam input action set with the D-pad bound to WASD and L1 bound to the jump key, which is F by default. Then walk up to the enemy after parrying, hold down and right on the D-pad, and press L1 and R1 at the same time when you're by their foot. Some bigger or smaller enemies require a slightly different setup, but that'll work on the vast majority of them. Head over to the second bonfire and light your torch, light the standing torch, leer the forlorn outside, and parry walk around the dragon. Get the H-Feather from the Herald, and the Ashen Mist Heart from the Ancient Dragon. We're finally done with the standard Dark Souls 2 run setup stuff, so we're on to the setup stuff for this specific run. Our next destination is the Memory of Jay, which will serve as our main soul farm. Either parry walk or moon jump your way over to the place unbeknownst, and head inside. We won't be fighting the Giant Lord, of course, just running through so the head of the statue takes out the enemies and gives us a good amount of souls. When you get 10,000 souls, buy 10 life gems, a bright bug, and the key from Melentia, then speak to her for the Silver Serpent Ring. Do another run or 2 of the memory so you've got around 10,000 souls again. Buy a rapier from, is it Leningrast? I don't know, people said Leningrast is wrong. In any case, upgrade the rapier to +4. Get 12 dexterity, and put any extra souls into attunement. After that, it's time to put our new rapier to work by killing Mullen and taking his clothes for the extra soul gain. Our next goal is to get hexes in the cat ring, so of course we'll need to do some more farming. My goal here was around 150,000 souls. I roughly timed the J soul farm, and with the outfit and serpent ring, it nets in the ballpark of 14,000 souls a minute on average. So it should only take a bit over 10 minutes to get there. With that done, level up, getting 16 attunement, 18 intelligence, and 22 faith. Buy the silver cat ring from Shalquar, then head over to Hyde's Tower of Flame. Here you'll want to rush past all of the enemies up to the area in front of the Dragon Rider's arena. Bait the 2 old knights that'll follow you off of the edge, then open the chest for the Ring of Binding. Death is a pretty likely occurrence throughout several parts of this run, so the ring will help reduce the HP loss. After that, use one of the Hyde Knights to parry walk around the Dragon Rider, and speak to Lycia so she moves to Majula. Speak to her again in Majula to move the path, then head over to Falcon to get a staff, chime, dark weapon, and resonant soul. Our next goal is to gain access to DLC 1. The pit is easy enough to get down with the cat ring, and at the bottom you'll find more bone dust. Carry on through the gutter, and grab another Estus shard along the way. Get the branch just before the entrance to Black Gulch, make your way to the hollow blocking the entrance to the second bonfire, and free him so you can access it. Note that for skipping the Rotten, it is faster to leave the hollow alive, but it's much easier to just kill him. Light the bonfire, dodge the invader, and drop off the ledge to the cave with the giants. They're weak to dark damage, so Resonant Soul will tear through them and you'll get the Forgotten Key. Finally, head into the Rotten's arena to despawn the invader and trigger the cutscene, then save and quit. Head back to Majula when you load in and drop down the pit again, this time to the ladder. Enter the room at the top and grab the Dragon Talon. We now have what we need to enter DLC 1, our only problem is that the Rotten is in our way. So how do we get past him? With parry walking and the parallel universe glitch. I'll try to give a quick rundown of how all of this works. While in the parry walk state, your character's true position ignores collision, but your character's physical position does not. This means if you run into a wall, your character will be stuck at the wall physically, but their true position will keep updating beyond the wall. Certain actions can cause the two positions to resync, however. For example, the fog gate entering animation disables fog gate collision. When this collision is disabled, your physical position is no longer blocked from where your true position is, and so it'll snap to it. We can take advantage of this position desyncing to bypass the Rotten, but there's another problem. Triggering a boss fight unloads all of the enemies in the area, including whatever enemy you use to parry walk. When the parry walked enemy is unloaded, parry walk instantly cancels, which means we won't be able to make it to the exit of the arena in time. So we'll need to stop the boss fight from triggering. We can do this by parry walking on the invader, running into the fog gate so our true position is just inside the arena, then pressing A to enter the fog gate and turning around immediately after doing so. Our character will snap to their true position, then walk back out of the fog gate since we changed our direction right after triggering the entrance. Activating a boss fight and escaping the arena triggers the parallel universe glitch. This glitch has a number of game-breaking effects, but the one we care about is boss fight storage. Rest at a bonfire to reset the boss, and the next time we enter the arena, the fight will fail to start. Because the fight fails to start, enemies won't be despawned. Parry walk on the invader a second time, and run into the fog gate to place your true position in the direction of the cave after the Rotten's room. When you enter, you'll snap as close to your true position as possible, and because the fog gate entering animation disables all fog gate collision, we'll go straight through the exit. We will run into a slight problem when trying to enter the DLC like this, however. Because the invader wasn't sent home due to the disabled boss fight, we won't be able to enter the DLC. If you were to force quit out of the game, you'd spawn outside of the Rotten's arena because of the parallel universe glitch. Fortunately, Dark Souls 2 has a 15-minute invasion timer, and this also applies to NPCs. Simply wait out the timer, and the option to enter the DLC will appear. Make your way to the first bonfire and parry walk on the first enemy. Head over to the tower with the second bonfire and wait for the parry walk timer to run out. From the second bonfire, drop down and follow this path to get the Sanctum Mace. The Sanctum Mace is the key to being able to level up very quickly. Now time for the longest grind in this run. Because we're trying to do this in the fewest possible bosses, we need to reach 1,000,000 soul memory to open the Shrine of Winter. You'll want to check your stats page to see how many souls you've collected, and then head to the Memory of J for the rest. I timed out the J farm compared to the Ivory soul farm, and they're very similar when using the Seldora set and the Serpent Ring, with the J farm being ever so slightly faster in my testing. Because we have Resonant Soul now, we can finish off the giants if they survive, which makes the difference. Once you've hit 1,000,000 soul memory, head back to Majula, and it's time to level up. We are going to take advantage of the free level glitch discovered by Plupperino. The basic idea is to get to around 1,000 health, parry walk on Soldan, poison yourself with the Sanctum Mace, then input your levels with the Herald. When You Died pops up, confirm the level up. This allows you to reclaim your souls from your bloodstain while still receiving the levels. There's no limit to how many times you can do this, but do note that as your poison resistance increases, you will need more time to perform the trick. So you may want to go with a lower amount of health. You can see the final stat totals I went with here. It's finally time to continue our journey. Return to Huntsman's Copse and proceed through the beginning of the area as normal, lowering the bridge and grabbing the bone dust. Head up to where Rowena invades, grab the lockaway key, then head into the Skeleton Lord's arena to despawn Rowena. Go through the shortcut cave to get the Estus Shard, and finally activate the lockaway bonfire. Now time for one of the harder skips. Head back to Rowena and parry walk on her. We want to have her pretty close to the edge to maximize the time we have before parry walk wears off. Follow this path to get out of bounds. Cross over the tunnel, run over here, and keep running forward and to the left until you snap through the invisible wall. Immediately turn around and start running towards the end of the tunnel. Timing is very tight, so don't be surprised if you don't get it on the first try. When done successfully, you'll drop down onto the collision for the raised bridge after the skeleton lords, and you can walk directly off of it to land on the ground on the other side. Carry on through the next area up to the second bonfire. On your way to the Covetous Demon, take out the Shrek fan club and the Fire Boob Lady. Clear out the mannequin from this corner and parry walk on him. We're going to use the same trick we did with the Rotten to trigger the Covetous Demon's fight. Head back to the bonfire, and now it's time to do almost everything we just did a second time. This time when we parry walk on the mannequin, we'll want to land our true position in the hallway after the demon, however. If done right, we'll skip right past him, just like with the Rotten. Continue on, and light the windmill on fire to get rid of the poison around Mytha's arena. Head to the bonfire behind the illusory wall, and prepare for the next skip. Take out the enemies crawling on the lower level, then drop down and stand in the corner to lure out one of the Grave Wardens and take him out too. Use the remaining Grave Warden to parry walk, and escape Mytha's arena. Back to the bonfire, do the setup again, and just like the previous bosses, land your true position beyond the exit fog gate. You'll likely get stuck at an invisible barrier, but it's only in the way until parry walk wears off. Now in Iron Keep, you'll want to take out the first Alon Knight so you have enough time to open the door. Keep going straight from there, and jump over to the set of broken stairs in the open section. Head up the ladder, get one of the knights to follow you back down, and use them to parry walk. If you fall off of the ledge when parry walking, you can melee to escape the falling animation. In either case, follow this path over to the old Iron King's fog gate. Head backwards from there, grab the bonfire, and turn off the flames. Because of the invader at the beginning of the area, you won't be able to warp out, so you can either enter the old Iron King's arena to despawn them, or just force close the game. With the flames disabled, you can now safely grab the Iron Key. It is possible to enter the Lizard Pit without it, so it's up to you whether you want to grab it or not. No matter how you decide to do it, return to the Forest of Fallen Giants, enter the Lizard Pit, and grab the Heavy Iron Key. Return to the final bonfire at Iron Keep, clear out the turtles down the ladder, and walk over here to lure out the Alon Knight. Have him follow you all the way outside, then parry walk on him, and we can easily skip the old Iron King from there. Head into DLC 2, grab the smelter wedges, and rest at the first bonfire. Time to unlock the third and final DLC. Return to the Ruined Fork Road bonfire, and you can either take the normal path or the faster parry walk path to Dranglake Castle. On your way through, leave the Crystal Lizard alive. We'll be able to exploit him for materials shortly. Take out the soldiers near the statues, and head inside. Grab the bone dust behind the door on the left, then carry on to the bonfire. Take out the stone soldiers by the first door on the right to open the path, and grab the frozen flower immediately after. Continue on and you'll be invaded by the Nameless Usurper. We'll need her alive for later, so head into the Twin Dragon Rider's room and quit out to despawn her. Afterwards, head back to the Forgotten Chamber bonfire, and it's time to get ready for the next set of upcoming skips. Return to Majula and speak to Benhart so he leaves the area. Next, return to the Forgotten Chamber and head backwards to this point so the Nameless Usurper will invade again. Head up to the area in front of Nishandra and you can probably guess what's coming. As per the last few skips, we're going to parry walk on the Nameless Usurper and escape the Dragon Rider's room. Rest at the bonfire, then do it all again a second time, this time skipping past the boss fight. Grab the bonfire, and if you want Kaitha's chime, head up the ladder and get it from the chest. Return to the bonfire, and it's time for what I believe is the game's hardest skip. Smack Ben hard a few times so he gets mad, and have him chase you over to the ladder. Parry walk him against the wall, and it's time to abuse another property of the aforementioned glitch. When you get on a ladder while parry walking, you get on that ladder at your true position, not at your visual position. We can utilize this to get on the ladder close to the end of the Looking Glass Knight's arena. The issue is, in order to do the following part successfully, we need to make use of almost the entire 30-second parry walk timer. You'll want to run straight into the wall, and when not running, walk diagonally up and to the left so your character continues moving. If a movement animation isn't playing, your true position isn't updating, and you won't make it far enough. With a few tenths of a second to spare on the timer, you'll want to get on the ladder. If done right, you should be pretty far into the arena. Now for the next part. First, swap the buckler for the binoculars, then climb up the invisible ladder. When you get to the top, you'll have a brief moment to both change the direction your character is facing and jump. This doesn't last long, so you'll want to jump pretty much as soon as your character starts turning. As you go over the archway, you'll want to zoom with the binoculars. This kills all of your forward momentum, and you should drop directly onto it. From there, you can drop the rest of the way down, successfully skipping the knight. If you're wondering why we couldn't just store the boss fight and use parry walk to go through the exit fall gate, for whatever reason, they decided this boss fight in particular needed a second invisible barrier at the exit fall gate that you can't get through until the fight is cleared. As far as I know, it's the only boss room in the game that has something like this. No idea why, but that's the way it is. Head through the Shrine of Nightmares up to the third bonfire. From there, you'll want to grab the Red Iron Twin Blade, which can go terribly wrong. Once you've successfully picked it up, you'll want to head back towards the cave we came from, but instead of going inside, head to the right. You'll find a priestess lying there, and she'll stand up when you get close. Shove her up onto the higher ground, and use her to parry walk. From there, you can run straight to the entrance to the Undead Crypt, bypassing the frog. Carry on through the crypt as normal, up to the second bonfire. Rather than continue forward though, we're going to head backwards to where the shortcut is. By using a moon jump, we can open it early. This is done by enabling auto sprint, then equipping the butterfly skirt, and jumping immediately afterwards. You'll jump way farther than normal, which lets you clear the gap. Open the shortcut, and we're done here for now. Before we get to fighting the required bosses, we'll want to upgrade our weapons. First, return to the Dragon Shrine and head backwards into the Aerie. Go all the way to where the first dragon is sleeping and you'll find both a Dark Knight Stone and a Bolt Stone. Next, we'll need access to the Lost Bastille, and for that, we'll need to skip both the Last Giant and the Pursuer. The Last Giant can be skipped by clearing out all of the enemies in front of the platform the Pursuer drops onto, except for the Halberd Soldier, then parry walking and using the ladder to warp into the room after the locked door. Be careful when running into the ladder, as it's easy to end up on the ledge next to it, and you won't be able to get onto it if you're up there. Once you're here, you'll want to again clear out all of the enemies except for one of the soldiers, and use him to parry walk past the Pursuer. At the Bastille, grab the Ember, the large shard from the ledge to the left of the entrance, and the large shard above Lucatiel. Next, play the Barrel Lottery, and use a firebomb if things don't go your way. Grab the large shards and normal shards from the chests, then buy as many large shards from McDuff as you need to fully upgrade both the Rapier and Twin Blade. Upgrade each weapon as much as you can, then imbue the Rapier with Dark and the Twin Blade with Lightning. Time to get the rest of the upgrade materials. Remember that lizard I mentioned leaving alive? This is where it comes in. Head back to the Forgotten Chamber and store the Dragon Riders fight to trigger the Parallel Universe glitch. From there, you'll want to make your way back to the King's Gate bonfire and rest at it so the enemies spawn in. Now we're going to take advantage of another property of the Parallel Universe glitch. The game's flags don't update properly if you save and quit while in this state. We can abuse this fact to take out the lizard and collect the materials without despawning him. Note that if you warp or die instead of save and quit, the flags will update properly and the lizard will be gone permanently. Repeat this as many times as needed to get all of the chunks you'll need for both weapons. Head back to Leningrad after, buy the rest of the shards you'll need for the Twin Blade, and then upgrade both weapons to plus 10. It's time to get those crowns. Return to the beginning of DLC 1, and use our friend at the start to parry walk over to the Priestess Chamber bonfire. Head across the bridge, and you'll be invaded. Take out the bugs, head down the ladder, and wait for the invader to follow you down there. He sometimes gets confused on how ladders work and starts going back up, but will eventually come down. We'll want to parry walk on the invader as you might expect, but we need to ensure that when we jump, we land at a height lower than the bottom of the ladder. From there, we're going to align our true position with the cave after Elena's arena and get on the ladder. Because our true position is lower than the ladder's bottom, there's no reference point for where our character should get off, and the invisible ladder we're on will be bottomless. Thanks to this bottomless ladder, we can slide all the way down to the cave, where we can get off and skip straight to Sinh. While we've skipped every other boss so far, there's no skipping Sinh. So we're on to our first required boss. The fight is easy enough with the Twin Blade, buff it with Dark Weapon, and you'll tear through it. One crown down, 3 to go. Now off to DLC 2, you'll want to head through normally up to the second bonfire. From there, we can abuse the parry walk interaction with ladders to get on the ladder outside and go all the way down to the Fume Knight. You'll want to climb down a good bit of the ladder before you start sliding, otherwise you can get warped back to the top. Just another bizarre interaction with these glitches. When you get back in bounds at the bottom, hop off the ladder and use the wedges to destroy the Ashen Idols. Next up, we take on the Fume Knight. Now, a few of you might know that there is a Fume Knight skip that lets you get the crown without beating him. And while this is true, unfortunately for Vendrick's blessing, the game not only checks that you have the crown, it also explicitly checks that you've beaten the knight on the current playthrough. So sadly, the skip doesn't help us in this case. As for the actual boss fight, I opt for the rapier here, as the lesser stamina usage and shorter attack durations make it much easier to not overcommit compared to the Twin Blade. With the knight down, the second crown is ours. Halfway there. Return to the Ruined Fork Road and make your way to the Shrine of Winter. To start off the third and final DLC, the first thing we're going to do is skip Ava. Grab the attention of the spell sword off to the right of the main gate, bring him over here, and you can parry walk straight past the fight. Get Alsana to defrost everything, and the fight with the Ivory King is immediately available. If you'd rather free the knights first, you can abuse the parallel universe glitch to open all of the shortcuts without the regular enemies there, then warp out to update the flags. From there you can head through the shortcuts to rescue the knights easily. In any case, head into the Ivory King's arena when you're ready. If you still have the Bright Bug from Malentia, now is a good time to use it. Other than that, the Twin Blade hits hard, so use it to carry you through the fight. We're now finished with the DLCs, so it's on to Vendrick. Before we head into the fight with Vendrick, we'll want to grab the 2 remaining obtainable giant souls. Head through the Memory of Oro, which in hindsight I should have done the first time we skipped the Pursuer, but efficiency be damned, and then head through the Memory of Valmar. Return to the Undead Crypt, take out the 3 bell-ringing hollows, and then take out the Dragon Rider who doesn't respawn. Next, trigger Velstat's cutscene and use one of the Cyan Knights to escape the fight. You know the process from here, rest at the bonfire, set up again, and skip the fight this time. Time to take on Vendrick. While he's not particularly difficult, he is particularly tanky, even with 3 out of 4 giant souls. So be prepared for quite the long, tedious fight. With his defeat, you can return to the Shrine of Amana and open the door containing his crown, as long as you're human. Finally, we have to skip Velstat once more to complete our journey. Enter Vendrick's memory and speak to him to receive his blessing. And it's finally done. As long as you have one of the 4 crowns equipped, you'll remain human even after dying, and we only needed to beat 4 bosses to get the effect. Is it worth it for most players to do this? Probably not, but we don't ask if we should do something here, we ask if we can. And that's about it for this video. I hope you found it entertaining or helpful in some way, and I will see you guys in another video.